So, our next session is tailored for entrepreneurs who recognize the immense potential of the region. This expert panelist of the Dubai as a startup melting pot, a guide to surpass the legal and regulatory challenges, will equip you with the knowledge needed to establish and grow your venture right here in Dubai with confidence. Please give a warm welcome to Anvar Hussain, who will moderate this panel.
Sabal Khair, good morning. How are you all? All good? So it's great, Ivan. Thank you for being here. Before we begin, any entrepreneurs here who has done the startup? Anybody here? You already? Okay. So, what do you think? How's your experience? Which industry it was? Which industry?
Financial market.
Financial market? Okay. How was? Is it currently running?
Yeah, it just started in November.
Just started November? Okay.
Yeah, ups and downs.
Ups and downs?
Yeah.
You've gone through the anxiety,
Yes.
self-doubt, fear?
Yes. Yes.
All right. So there is a advantage being a founder. Do you know that?
Yes.
What is that?
Like you learn a lot.
You learn a lot.
Yeah.
So in my experience, I did start multiple company and I failed a couple of things. The best thing is that the success never teach you a lot, but the failures and rejections, it teach you a lot in your life, in your career. And the advantage is that once you being a founder, you become an all-rounder. So you become a CEO, you are a HR, administration, office boy sometimes, serving to the client. So you are qualified to do any job. So in your resume you can add. That's a being advantage. The best thing is that all the big companies we see today, like Apple, Microsoft, they're Amazon, they're all, once upon a time, they're very small, humble. That's how it's begin. It's all started with a dream. There is a power in dream. Dream definitely come true as long as you take action and works towards it. For sure it will come. It will come true. That's the power of the dreams. All the people who achieved every great things, you can go and see the history. They all had a one dream. And it works out well. Right, great. So, today's session is about startup companies in Dubai and the legal challenges and how to overcome them. Yeah, let's dive into session. Before that, Samir, could you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yes, first off, thank you for having me here, and thank you for coming. Yeah, and it's a wonderful gathering here to see startup founders who've gone through the grill themselves. I'm Dr. Samir Joshi. I'm the CEO of ZX Advisory, which is a consulting firm providing consulting services over a range of areas: public infrastructure, entrepreneurship consulting, sustainability, artificial intelligence, and even quantum computing. I have gone through my own startup journey myself. About 10 years now it's been. My first startup was a massive failure, like you said.
That's amazing.
It was the best teacher I could have. And while it was failing, I also started a second one, co-founded another one, which turned out to be a resounding success. And I exited both of them successfully last year. So I have a lot of insights to share on this topic. I'm a former corporate executive. So exactly what you just said. When you're a corporate executive as of a business unit CEO level at Siemens, and in a corporate environment, you're doing, at whatever level you are, only certain things.
Just one thing.
Yeah.
You'll be keep on doing same thing today, tomorrow,
No.
day after.
Yeah,
Being entrepreneur.
Exactly. And the moment I became an entrepreneur, you're doing everything in your company, right? Especially at the time it's growing. So I'm very grateful for this journey, for where it has gotten me. In addition to my former corporate, now entrepreneurship activities, I'm also a professor of business studies at Germany's largest university, where I teach business studies, sustainability, and a lot of courses in artificial intelligence as well. So with that background, I feel very comfortable sharing my insights with this wonderful gathering here. So once again, thank you for having me and thank you for coming.
Always scared of professors. So should I?
Yes,
Not
I look very
necessarily.
dangerous, don't
Very
I?
dangerous, right? All right, thank you. It's a great pleasure to have a talk with one professor. Great.
Pleasure.
So let's dive into the session. So in Dubai, I've been here for 2 decades. I have started multiple companies in the forex industry. I know how does it look like. But Dubai, strategically, it's the location-wise. If you see, have an office in Dubai, you can serve the LATAM, you can serve the Africa, and you can serve GCC in Middle East. If you go to this side, India, Pakistan, Asia, infrastructure-wise, the government support, the things you get is amazing. I think, in my opinion, it's the best place to start in Dubai. What do you think? What's your opinion?
Yes, I totally agree. The thing is that I used to be also the head of a startup hub in Cologne in Germany. And that was a time that gave me the possibility to compare with many other startup hubs. And I'm also on the board of a Silicon Valley technology company. So if I see all these startup hubs that are out there in Berlin, in Germany, in Dubai, and many other places, what I find over here is that Dubai has an amazing strategic position. Yeah. And it's a global business hub, connecting the West and the East, which is really unique. Obviously world-class infrastructure. I always compare this because I spend a lot of time, obviously also in Germany. I see this to be the perfect place where perfection, a good system, world-class infrastructure, combines together with a lot of innovation, good tax incentives, and an amazing access to emerging markets like no other location has.
True.
A favorable regulatory environment is yet another thing. There are obviously hurdles even for startups, and a positive regulatory environment to make it to be a success. But having said that, Dubai is very strategically positioned and very open-minded. I have seen, because one of the successful startups that I had also operations here in Dubai and in one of the other Emirates. So which is obviously a platform for startups to come here and really be very successful over here. So I'm very excited about that.
Thank you for sharing this. So to the audience, how many of you would like to start a company? Any idea you have? You are thinking about it? Anybody? Anyone has a plan to start some company in the near future? Anyone? Go for it. Share your opinion. Anybody has thought to start? What is stopping you?
Nothing.
Nothing. That's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's the right spirit.
You are started or going to start, or you have a dream?
No, I have companies. Sorry, I just put my hand up because you seemed lost a little bit for the request. But yeah, I have companies, and I will open a company in Dubai shortly.
Yeah,
okay, so is there any major challenge you face?
I suppose the biggest challenge is would be the regulatory environment.
Yes.
True,
but
true.
there's a lot of help, I think, for new entrants into the market, which make it possible.
Absolutely right. So the legal regulatory thing really a challenge. Sometimes is the most obstacle.
Yes.
It's a scary one when it comes to regulation.
Yes, it is.
So for the startups, how to take care? I mean, how to overcome this? How to take care of the fear? Please throw some light.
Yeah, so the regulatory environment is going to be, it'll mean different things to different types of startups, okay? So if you are a startup in a massively regulated environment, obviously you're going to be dealing with the regulations. That's just a reality. Fintech, anything to do with healthcare, anything to do with data protection, data security, is always an issue. So the way to deal with it is after obviously the idea has been identified and the startup business plan is in place. I think the best way to go about this is really to identify which regulations are the ones that are stumbling blocks. We're here in a fintech area, massively regulated space for good reason, and then partner with the DIFC. The Innovation Hub has amazing programs out there where they help startups to go through it. But at the end of the day, it's ultimately a journey. Yeah, it's very difficult to give a broad brush answer that will be good for all startups, but one just needs to make sure that one identifies which regulatory problems and issues the startup is going to face in its journey, and to tackle them ahead of time. Yeah, that's the most important thing to do. And when these hurdles come, and I see this in many of the successful companies which were startups here. I don't want to name many of them because I've advised many of them personally. But I just see their journeys, and they have identified these things early on, then worked with regulatory authorities, if it's the RTA over here, or if it's the Financial Regulatory Authority, or if it's anything on the education side, and then worked along with them to say, this is an innovative idea, this is how it's going to serve the public requirement and be of service, not just to the enterprise, but also to the startup itself. And that's the way to tackle it.
So should they plan when they begin in the beginning stage itself, like there is a plan to handle it? Maybe they should talk to some lawyers. Or
yes.
consultants?
So this is where the services of regulatory advisory services, consultants, etc., come into play. And there is a lot to offer in terms of the legal framework, which is really independent or very dependent on which area you are operating in. That's one of the things. So work with law firms, work with early stage financiers and all that, and talk to people who are startup mentors. Yeah, and this is very important. And this doesn't need to be a financial transaction to start off with. There are many people out there who are willing to help startup founders who are in the beginning of their journey and who know for a fact that there is not a huge financial backing if you just have an idea right now. So finding a mentor, finding someone who's helping you in the angel stage, together with law firms and other institutions, is a very good idea for startup founders to do right in the beginning.
Great, very insightful. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Moving on to audience. How many free zones in Dubai? Any idea?
Good question.
How many free zones? Numbers? 50? 11? Any other answer? How many free zones? 15? 52. In Dubai, okay, so let's divide by 2, around 20 free zones in Dubai. There is one free zone which is located in a ship. Anybody know this? There is a free zone in ship. Who knows this? You know it? Yeah, Queen Elizabeth. Exactly. So yes, that's one free zone which is located in Queen Elizabeth. Please Google it. If you get a chance, please go and visit. But if you want to open a company, just make sure you are taking the swimming class or you learn swimming. We all know the Titanic story, yeah? I don't want to end up, we already know. So yeah, right. So there are many free zones. As I told, around 20 is there. So it's confusing. So where we have to go, which free zone? I have idea. So what should I? Please guide me some.
Yet again, this depends on the area of the startup, okay? I think the broader question to ask is free zone or mainland, yeah? So I think this is where the primary question is before we start talking about which free zone, yeah? And there are a lot of them.
Free zone,
yeah?
mainland, yes.
So, and we had to deal with the exact same thing. And ours was a free zone enterprise, but we asked ourselves this exact same question. So if I were to answer that question first, if I may, if that's okay with you. One has to decide, if one's a startup company, which market is the one that's going to be addressed. If it is more an international market that the startup that is founding in Dubai wants to address, then the free zone is your friend, okay? If, however, your target market is the local market, then it is absolutely necessary to focus on the mainland. Yeah? Otherwise, you don't have an identity here. Companies don't take you, business partners don't take you seriously. The ones providing advice won't take you seriously if you're an international person, but not wanting to go into the mainland because of all kinds of regulatory hurdles that you see, but you don't understand as a startup founder very well. So this is the first distinction to be made. Do I want to be my startup to be geared towards using Dubai and its internationality and its hub nature to address international markets, or do I want to address the mainland? Yeah, so this is the first. This is the first thing. If I then say, okay, I have this clear, but I actually want to do both because Dubai is not just a good hub, but it's also also a good market. Then I would recommend companies to take what's called a hybrid approach. So if it's, for example, an international company, I would recommend them to be in a free zone, be a free zone enterprise, an FZE or FZLLC, whatever form one wants to take, depending on the stage of the startup. It's too detailed. I don't want to go into the company forms just right in this panel to burden anybody. But then I would say, okay, then I have also a subsidiary in the mainland, which is addressing as a subsidiary of the free zone enterprise the local market. And this hybrid approach has turned out to be very successful for many startup companies starting their journey. So that's what I'd recommend. Now to your question. Sorry, long-winded answer to get to your question, but I think this is important to break this down and come from the bigger picture. At that point, one has to decide, okay, where am I? What's my market? If I'm a tech-based company, then the Dubai Internet City is your place to go. If you're a fintech company, then it's the DIFC. Depending on what company it is one of the hubs that
the nature.
Yes.
Depending on the nature, we should consult and then we decide. Okay,
Exactly.
That's very insightful.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
So great. Before I became public speaker and CEO, I was just accountant. Small accountant doing the same job yesterday, today, tomorrow for around 15 years. So I got a dream. I want to be a CEO. It's just a dream. There is no use. I started taking action. And then I got a support from friends, wonderful friends. I have a Sharif. There is a Munir standing there. These guys, the support they provided is amazing. The fuel, they refine it, they made, who I am. When it comes to support, that's very, very essential for everybody who want to grow up or learn, start something. When talking about a startup, what kind of support available in Dubai to nurture it,
Wow, that's a great question, and this is so key because you have to see the startup as a seed you put into the ground or into the soil, and you need to keep constantly watering it. That's one support. For a long time, you don't see anything, because everything is happening under the ground. What you also don't do is you don't dig up the soil every day and see is it growing or not. It is growing, but a lot of support needs to. And I'm just using these analogies to, not to dilute the seriousness of this, but this is something that that many startup founders and many of you are over here, you've obviously also seen this and faced it. You can't see progress immediately, but the support infrastructure is absolutely key. And I was talking about mentorship. Then there are things like accelerators and incubators for growth support, and Dubai has quite a few of them, like the DFA, the Dubai Future Accelerators, then the IN5 incubator, and these are such examples. So just now, let me just talk about what these incubators, what this support mechanism does. You see, when startup founders have their idea, and that's the starting point, and that's an amazing starting point. There's a lot of euphoria, there's a lot of energy that goes into it. But then when the rubber meets the road, all this euphoria, kinds of disappears into thin air. Then you really need to hold on to your vision and then have a support mechanism of a mentor, of an incubator, of like-minded startup founders. I think that's what I found to be the most important thing.
Co-founder, you mean?
Co-founders. Well, not just the co-founders, but other startups who are facing the same things, which is why things like co-working is such an important thing. So this is a part of the support infrastructure, that if you are a startup founder or a co-founder, you're a team sitting in in an office, in a co-working space, you know that in all likelihood you are supported or surrounded by an infrastructure of people going through the same thing. And this is massively critical in the startup journey, massively critical, so that you know that all of a sudden this is human nature, you know you're not alone, yeah? They might be facing different challenges depending on which startup they are founding, but such a support infrastructure that you have possibilities of getting your idea vetted by mentors, getting legal help in the beginning from people who know the regulatory framework, who know what hurdles you have, which conversations you need to have with whom, but then also a co-working space and office infrastructure that is provided. All these kinds of things are massively important in the startup journey. And if you
Completely
have
agree.
it, it's good. If you don't have it, it's very difficult, because in the nature of things, a founder's or co-founder's journey is pretty lonely. Okay, it's a lonely path. Yeah, because you're there with your idea and your vision, and this support network and all these accelerator networks that I mentioned and many more provide this. So this is very, very important to take note of and then also make use of.
Great, that's very insightful. Thank you. Let's play a game. How many of you ready for a game? Right? The rule is like
Oh,
this.
they're ready for a game.
Are you ready for the game?
Ready.
So I'm going to play a ringtone. You need to find which phone it is. Let's do it. Okay. How quick it is? Very quick, huh? Did you use this before? Yeah, back in 2000, this is one of my favorite phone. Not only mine, my friend, my family, my boss, everybody. Having this is very prestigious. I hold this phone this way to show people, you know, I'm keeping this. So I'm back in 2000. How many of you using it now, Nokia? You using?
Yeah.
Nokia?
Yeah, I still use it.
Man, you are the only one.
Because to eliminate distraction, I use it.
Okay, so only for calls, yeah? Distraction, that's a good word, yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Because
great.
a lot of anxiety, like we get from mobile.
Instagram, yeah, feeds and all. Okay, so
Yeah.
you are safe. You have a lot of money, so you want to keep your privacy. That's amazing. So basically, I'm just asking why this phone back in 2000 loved by everybody. Everyone was having it. Now you see only one for some other purpose. Why does it happen? Why nobody's using now Nokia, the same phone? What happened?
Because technology got
Techno.
upgraded.
Exactly. Change. The one word is change. Change is constant. Everything change. We need to adapt. We need to adapt. Otherwise, you know, the survival will be. So, moving on. Let's say in 5 to 10 years, what changes we are thinking about the startup regulations, your vision? Please share some ideas, thoughts.
The vision. How long do you want me to project this?
You know,
20
vision we can project,
We're,
but
we're
5,
in
10 years.
2025, so
2030.
2030, okay. Or 2050, I thought you were going to be a bit more bolder.
2050, maybe it will be by the time robots will be there, AI, we don't know. Let's see.
Okay, so there is already a lot going on. You know, the thing is that we always try to project things into the future and say this is what the world is going to look like. I think if one just takes a longer term view of this, there's one fundamental thing that one needs to know. Startups of today are the mid-sized companies of tomorrow, of 2030. Let's say startup of today is maybe a mid-sized company of 2035, and maybe a large corporation, a multi-billion-dollar company of 2050. Yeah.
By the time robots will be here, sitting instead of people, we
Well,
don't know.
that's good. But at the end of the day, you know, I do a lot of work on AI and also on sustainability and quantum computing. And I know for a fact that all these things are there to help, and it's going to fundamentally change a lot of things, yeah? So robotics, and you know, there are some on display over here. I saw a robotic dog yesterday. Yeah?
Exactly.
So I'm actually missing my dog a bit as well.
Is it a robot?
Not yet, not yet. But in any case, I mean, this is the view or vision to take for startups. That you know, if you're starting out today, you are a large corporation of 2050. That's the kind of outlook to take. And you know, bringing this together with some of the support initiatives that you talked about, and I'd just like to quickly talk about that. We're here in a fintech area, so there's obviously the DIFC Fintech Hive, which is one support mechanism, which is also catapulting a lot of companies into the future. That's one thing. A smart city accelerator program to do a lot of smart city activities, and then there's obviously a lot of things on the government side, which is things like Dubai Now or the DED traders license topic. That's there. But projecting into the future, what I see is that three things are going to come together, and many other things are going to be massive support mechanisms. The one thing is sustainability. Yeah. So there is Dubai Clean Energy Strategy of 2050, which is why I was talking about a longer term vision, and I see a lot of sustainability-based startup companies working together hand in hand with many of the fintech companies over here, because I see a lot of crypto and blockchain to be a fundamentally core technology for the future. I also see Dubai or the MENA region also becoming an AI and quantum computing hub. And this is a technology of the future.
Sounds good. I see a lot of research you have done. True professor.
Thank you.
Amazing.
I think you have a question out there.
Yeah, I have a question. I know we've got just a few minutes before the session
Now it's
ends.
Audience can
Okay.
ask. Go for it.
All right. So if I was right at the beginning of my journey into this region as well, and I want to set up a business, what would be the top 5 regulatory challenges that I need to take into account when I'm putting my proposal together for a business? What are the things that I really, really need to know on a regulatory sort of like sense in setting up my business?
Top 5, please. Can you take it somewhere?
So, the couple of things, yeah. Depending on what your startup is in, that's the first thing. So, should we just take it generally, or
Yeah, anything generic.
There is one department everybody hate in the company. Every company. Do you know which one?
Well, the audience might not.
Do you know which is the most hated department in any company? Compliance. So because, yeah, that's how it is. They are the guys, taking care of course, they are protecting it. No, maybe it's a difficult, it's a painkiller, or it's a bitter pill, but yeah. So the top 5, maybe the capital, the nature of activity, documentation, there is a money laundering, these things are there, you need to take care of this. And the mandatory positions, which are supposed to be there. Number 5 could be...
I would say employment laws as well.
Exactly.
Yeah? Employment
law.
laws is one thing.
True.
VAT registration is the other thing. Licensing is yet another topic.
True.
Data protection and regulation is definitely definitely one of them, and you've already talked about the others. So those are the ones that I would definitely look at.
That's very insightful. Yeah, the taxation, VAT. You mentioned about the employment, laws. So there are many laws which should be taken care. I think our most hated department in the company, she will take care. But we need.
But that's a wonderful question. That so thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, obviously, there's this.
Any other
there's anyone
questions?
in the startup. Yeah.
Really focuses it. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Anybody? Any questions?
And don't be shy. I'm sure some of you have some questions.
All good? Either our session is very informative, you guys get all the answers, or you don't understand anything. I don't know which one I should presume.
I think coming from a professor, also maybe they didn't understand anything, I guess, but maybe coming from a practitioner,
Yeah.
I think pretty much everything was understood.
Okay, that's a good news. All right, great. Thank you guys. I really appreciate. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.